What if the Postal Service offered mail for free? That you can mail your letters for free, but when you mailed your letters for free, the government got to read your letters. But it'd be okay because we'd find out you wanted to go on a vacation and we'd send you advertisements for that. Or if your kids needed new clothes, we'd send you advertisements for that as well. People would be concerned, right? Well, that's exactly how Gmail started. Gmail claims today that they don't no longer read your emails, but they allow third parties to pay them to read your emails. The privacy, to me, is like private property. I should know when I go on a site what they're able to get and know about me. It is my property. I should be able to move it if I want to go to another platform, and I should be able to delete it. But the one thing I'm not going to do is what the chairwoman of Financial Services did, to put her head in the sand and make sure we don't have innovation. You cannot ignore technology and innovation, but what you can do is make sure there's safeguards around it that protect the privacy of the individuals who are going to use it. How many of you have ever read the terms before you sign up onto a site? You're giving away so many rights that you've never even read through. Shouldn't we, as a federal government, lay out in clear language what somebody can take? But if it's our private property, again, you should be able to move it, you should be able to delete it, and if they monetize it, you should be able to get a piece of that money as well. That's where I stand. Yes.
Could you speak to the concerns you may have about what can happen when at a rally like we saw for the president last night, if a group of supporters begins a chant, and if that becomes sort of the catchphrase of his new campaign, much like Lock Her Up was in 2016, what concerns or dangers do you think there could be of setting a tone among Republican voters that is viewed by many people as racist, or even potentially putting some harm or potential harm to these four congresswomen if people misuse that sentiment?
Let me be very clear to everyone who's elected. I've watched language used against ICE, individuals who work for the federal government. I watched last weekend a storm upon a building inside America and take down an American flag to raise a flag of another country. Was that driven by anything else than elected officials saying certain things? I watched individuals talk about and introduce bills about boycotting Israel and empowering something that nowhere in this body has gone before. Again, in the Senate, an anti-BDS bill passed with what, 77 votes? Chuck Schumer voted for that. But in this new Socialist Democratic Party that is the majority, introduced a bill that is the opposite, an opposite of what the fundamental cores of America believes to our greatest ally and only democracy inside the Middle East, Israel. That yes, you could boycott them, you could divest, and you could sanction them. That's what their message is about. That creates a problem in this country. They have the freedom of speech, but and then if you go to facilities and you talk about something that did not happen, that creates a problem as well. Or Antifa, that will go out, beat an individual up based upon their philosophy and their belief, and then won't stand up against it. I watched the president, when a chant happened, move on to make sure that nothing did happen. But I watched others in this body encourage something and never denounce it. That's the difference. And that's when you think about the ideology, philosophy of what we have here, it's really just in the House. It is this new movement in this Socialist Democratic Party. They have overtaken their party. More than half of them have signed on to deny 180 million Americans their right to health care that they currently have. Or now they fundamentally believe that they want to take $4,000 from individuals and put it directly into their campaigns to run the ads of what they believe. That's what the battle is about. Don't mistake anything else. This is about the ideology of America, socialism versus freedom. And yes, it is a big fight. And I would believe that everybody in that body should stand up against what Antifa is doing, or stand up against anybody that tries to go after ICE agents and takes down an American flag to raise a flag of another country on the soil of America. I don't think that should have to be debated.